The story opens with Ryan Cross running final pre-flight checks on his cargo hauler, the Wayward Star, docked at Outpost Keyleth 7, a dying frontier station that's being systematically abandoned after the colony project failed. Ryan's an independent freight operator, the kind who takes contracts others won't touch and operates in the gray areas where official shipping companies fear regulatory tangles. He's here picking up the last salvageable equipment before the station is officially decommissioned. The outpost is nearly empty now. Most colonists evacuated months ago when the terraforming project collapsed and corporate sponsors declared the settlement non-viable investment. Ryan's loading cargo when he notices movement in a sealed storage section that's supposed to be empty. His curiosity and paranoia about stowaways drives him to investigate. What he finds is 5 young Silvari women, huddled in an equipment bay that's clearly been converted into improvised living quarters. They range from perhaps 16 to 22 in human equivalent age. Their long, elegantly curved ears marked with simple bands that identify them as lower caste workers rather than nobility. When they notice Ryan, they don't run. Instead, they move forward with desperate urgency. The oldest one speaks first, her standard accented but clear. "Please, save us, take us with you." Her silver eyes hold desperation mixed with fading hope. "We have been left here," declared excess population when the colony failed. The evacuation transports had limited space, and we were categorized as non-essential labor. "We will be abandoned when the station powers down." Ryan stares at them, his mind racing through the implications. The colonial authority just left you here. That's illegal under like 17 different humanitarian laws. "Illegal but convenient," another girl says, her voice bitter. 5 Silvari workers with no family connections, no strategic value, no corporate sponsors. Processing our evacuation would cost more than leaving us was worth to them. They declared us voluntary non-evacuees in the official records, claimed we chose to stay. "Did you?" Ryan asks, though he already knows the answer from their expressions. "No," the first girl says simply. "We begged, we pleaded, we offered to work without payment just for transport to any settled world. They locked us here with minimal supplies and told us to wait for a secondary transport that was never scheduled." She steps closer, her pride visibly warring with desperation. "You are leaving. You have a ship. Please, take us with you. We will work, we will pay somehow, we will." Ryan holds up a hand, stopping her increasingly frantic offers. "How long do you have? Before the station powers down completely?" 3 days, the oldest girl answers. "After that, life support fails in this section. We could move to the central hub, but that will only buy us perhaps a week more. We have limited food, no viable long-term options." Ryan runs the numbers in his head: cargo capacity, life support systems, supplies, potential complications. His ship is designed for solo operation, but it can support additional passengers if they're not demanding luxury. The legal complications of taking on unofficial passengers are significant but not insurmountable if he can reach a sympathetic port authority. What stops most people isn't capability, it's willingness to shoulder the bureaucratic headache and potential liability. Ryan looks at these 5 young women who have been declared disposable by a system that values efficiency over ethics and makes a decision that will either be the best or worst choice of his career. "Okay, you can come. But we need to move fast, and you need to understand the complications this creates." The relief that floods their faces is almost painful to witness. The oldest girl's composure cracks slightly. "You will truly take us, even knowing we can offer nothing in return immediately. You can offer honest work and company on a usually lonely ship," Ryan says practically. "Also, leaving people to die when I have the capacity to save them would make me an asshole, and I try to avoid that when possible." Over the next several hours, Ryan helps the 5 women. They introduce themselves as Sira, Myra, Tala, Zira, and Lynn. transfer their meager belongings to the wayward star, and get settled in the cargo bay he's converted into passenger space. It's cramped but functional, with sleeping hammocks, basic hygiene facilities, and access to the ship's galley. As they prepare for departure, Ryan discovers just how thoroughly these women were failed by the system. They have no official documentation beyond their colonial worker IDs, which are flagged as terminated contracts. They have no funds, no family they can contact, no prospects beyond the hope that someone would be willing to help. When Ryan files his departure clearance, the automated station system flags him for carrying unregistered passengers. Before it can escalate to human review, Ryan overrides it with a code he's not supposed to have, a legacy from his time working with refugee aid organizations before he went independent. The system logs them as registered humanitarian transfers, with documentation that will pass casual inspection long enough to get them out of this sector. As the wayward star breaks orbit and leaves outpost Keyleth 7 behind, Sierra approaches Ryan in the cockpit. "You violated protocol to save us. You created legal complications for yourself. Why? You don't know us. We could be criminals, liabilities, problems you'll regret taking on." Ryan adjusts their navigation course toward a frontier hub where he has contacts who can help with proper documentation. "Could be, but you're more likely just people who got screwed by a system that values profit over life. I've been in situations where someone else's choice to help made the difference between surviving and not. Figured I could pay that forward." He glances at her. "Also, I looked up the voluntary non-evacuee designation while loading cargo. It's a bureaucratic loophole corporations use to abandon people legally. Knowing that exists and choosing to do nothing about it when I had the capacity to act would make me complicit. I'm generally opposed to being complicit in evil when the alternative is just doing paperwork and accepting some risk." Over the following weeks, as Ryan navigates legal channels to get his passengers proper refugee status and asylum claims processed, the 5 Silvari women prove themselves valuable crew. Sierra has engineering training and helps maintain systems. Myra can navigate complex trade regulations better than Ryan ever could. Tala, Zira, and Lynn handle cargo management, communications, and the 1,000 small tasks that running a ship requires. They transform the wayward star from a lonely one-man operation into a functioning crew. When they finally reach a port where Ryan's refugee aid contacts can process proper documentation, a Galactic Humanitarian Council representative reviews their case. She looks at Ryan with an expression mixing disapproval and reluctant respect. "You broke several protocols taking these women aboard without proper clearance. You faked documentation. You violated transportation regulations." "Yes," Ryan agrees without apology. "Because the alternative was letting 5 people die when I had empty cargo space and functioning life support. If those regulations prioritize bureaucratic convenience over human life, or in this case, Silvari life, then the regulations are wrong, not my choice." The representative is quiet for a moment, then stamps the documentation with more force than necessary. "Officially, I'm noting procedural violations in your record. Unofficially, the GHC needs more freight operators willing to prioritize lives over paperwork. Your passengers are now registered refugees with work permits. They can stay with you or seek other opportunities." She pauses. "What you did was illegal. It was also right. Try not to make me process too many more of these cases because the paperwork is terrible." As they leave the administrative office with legal documentation finally secured, Lynn speaks up, the youngest of the 5, who's been quietest throughout the journey. "You saved us. We were classified as excess lives, people too costly to value. You chose to value us anyway. That choice violated your laws, created risk for you, and gained you nothing except crew you didn't need." Ryan shrugs. "I needed crew more than I knew, and I gained 5 people who work hard, don't complain about the terrible coffee, and are teaching me Silvari so I can negotiate better trade deals in their home systems. That's pretty good return on investment for some paperwork violations. Sierra smiles. Very human response. Reduce life-saving moral action to good return on investment to avoid acknowledging you did something extraordinary. It wasn't extraordinary, Ryan objects. It was basic decency. 5 people begged me to save them and I had the capacity to do it. Refusing would require justification. Helping just required action. But Myra, who's been researching human cultural concepts, corrects him gently. In galactic terms, it was extraordinary. Most species prioritize legal compliance over moral action when the two conflict. You prioritized saving lives over following regulations that would have resulted in our deaths. That's very HFY. What's HFY? Ryan asks. Humanity, fuck yeah, Tala explains. It's what younger species say about humans who do remarkable things while insisting they're just being reasonable. You violated multiple laws to save people your system declared not worth saving. That's peak HFY behavior. As the crew of the now properly registered Wayward Star continues their work, running freight contracts, occasionally taking on other refugees who need transport, building reputation as operators who value ethics over pure efficiency, they embody a principle that makes humanity both frustrating and essential to galactic society. The refusal to abandon hope when helping is possible, even when helping violates convenient regulations. And sometimes, 5 alien girls pleading, "Save me, take me